October is typically known for people dressing up in costumes, giving out candy, and all sorts of weird happenings. But it's also the perfect time to dive into a spooky game, and this October is sure to get your spine tingling and to make your wallet a little more sad. I'm Zion from Nintendo Life, and today we're bringing you 16 games that are releasing on the Nintendo Switch that we think are going to be pretty solid. Let's take a look. Kicking off the month of October on the 4th is Ghostbusters, the video game Remastered. This is a new HD version of the Ghostbusters game that PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 fans saw on their consoles, not a remaster of the cooperative, more cartoony Wii title of the same name. And unlike the recent movie, this third-person action game brings back the full cast from the originals and lets you play as their new recruit in a unique story written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis themselves. Now, I'm not the biggest Ghostbusters fan on the planet, but speaking solely on its looks, it's fully captured the spirit of the classic Ghostbusters, and I've heard from many friends and colleagues that this is the quintessential Ghostbusters experience. Next up, on the 8th, the Lovecraftian horror title Call of Cthulhu slithers its way onto store shelves. Call of Cthulhu is a first-person adventure where you play as a detective sent off to a mysterious island to investigate the demise of the Hawkins family. But what makes this different than any other horror adventure is its RPG mechanics it pulls from its tabletop roots. As you progress through the game, you'll gain character points that can be used to raise your interrogation skills, your wits, or your overall strength, just to name a few things. I've personally always been curious about Cthulhu myth, but have felt intimidated due to the sheer size of its lore. So if you're like me, Call of Cthulhu might be the perfect entrance into its world. Also launching on the 8th is the 4th title in the adventure platformer series, Trine 4: The Nightmare Prince. The same wizard, knight, and thief trio from the original game must embark on a new quest to save the Prince Celius before he envelops the world and himself in total darkness. Now, these games are traditionally known for their gorgeous worlds, elaborate puzzles, and its 3-player simultaneous co-op play, but according to the eShop page, Trine 4 features up to 4 players. That's very fitting of this new numbered entry. I wonder if we'll be seeing any new characters join the ranks. One more title for the 8th is a title we've been covering quite a bit on the site and channel, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. Now, unlike the original, this adventure is taking things in a different direction by going the 2.5D platformer route, but it's still coming straight to you from the team behind the original. We've had the opportunity to go hands-on with the game a handful of times now. I myself played it at E3 and walked away wanting more. The platforming is tight, the new overworld is fun to explore, the puns are thick as ever, and the music is once again composed by video game music legends David Wise and Grant Kirkhope. If you played the original Yooka-Laylee and found it a little less than appetizing, fear not. This new journey is looking to be a game any platforming fan should keep on their radar. Knocking on our doors the day after is a title called Mistover, or what I'm simply calling Darkest Dungeon Anime Edition. Mistover is a dungeon crawling RPG topped with a turn-based battle system, but what makes this a unique adventure is what lies within the mist itself. Now, the game is centered around exploring a mysterious plane known as the Vortex, and inside are deadly creatures that want nothing more for than you to merely cease existing. No big deal, right? But the creatures aren't even the least of your worries. Be aware, as you fight and explore, you'll need to be cautious of the mist, as it can have both positive and negative effects on your party, which is where the Darkest Dungeon comparison comes in. The mist can grant you new abilities, or it can send your crew into the darkest parts of their mind. So if you're looking for a challenge and think you can stomach the insanity, then be our guest. Dive straight into the mist. Then, launching on the 11th is the multiplayer arcade giant Killer Queen Black. It's an 8-player team-based action strategy game that actually originated in arcades in, believe it or not, 2013. But it's finally making its first home console debut on Switch. If you walk into a modern-day arcade and manage to find a Killer Queen Black cabinet, consider yourself lucky, as there are only around 75 arcades in the US that actually have one of these. We've stumbled across a few of them on our adventures, but have never actually had the chance to play them, as the problem is the fact that in order to play the game, you need a team of at least 4 players. Now, the arcade version supports up to 10, and this new home console version supports up to 8, and with the newly included online modes, you'll be able to jump into a match regardless of your group. So I'm personally excited to finally play this game and see what all the hype is about. Hop a few spots down the calendar to the 15th and you'll find another full day of games, starting off with Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition. Veteran PC players may be familiar with this classic RPG series, but this new release actually marks its first appearance on a Nintendo console.
And before anyone gets upset, Dark Alliance is very different.
In comparison to their original PC iterations, these enhanced versions feature a few new characters, a widescreen aspect ratio, and a more optimized play experience. Now, the gameplay and graphics haven't aged the best, but if you have fond memories losing night after night to the world of the Forgotten Realms, or simply want to see what lots of modern RPGs drew inspiration from, then venture forth. We're still not quite sure how, but also releasing on the 15th is the epic adventure The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition. This release of the game, of course as you'd expect, includes every feature, mission, and piece of DLC included with the previous versions available on PlayStation and Xbox, by sacrificing some things in the graphical department. But honestly, for the Switch, it might be the most impressive looking game we've seen yet. The Witcher 3 packs in hundreds of hours of adventure, full of monsters to slay, choices to be made, and games of Gwent to be played. And if you're planning to pick up this physically, you'll be happy to hear that everything is installed on the cartridge from the get-go, so there's no extra downloads required. Then, finishing off the day, comes the award-winning Overwatch. Similarly to The Witcher 3, this version of Overwatch will play the same as its PC and console counterparts, but now includes the added feature of motion controls. But if you're not the type to use them, fear not, as they are not mandatory. This Legendary Edition of the game also packs in a few sets of character skin packs and 3 months of the Nintendo Switch Online membership. Not bad at all. Next up on the 16th comes a game we went from knowing little about to getting a release date, and then still knowing little about it. This one's called Little Town Hero, a new RPG from the developers of the Pokemon series. From what we understand, the game takes place for the most part inside of a town that's off in the middle of nowhere, secluded from the rest of society. And one day, monsters just show up out of nowhere, and of course, only you have the powers to stop them. We're a little nervous of how this one's going to turn out, as the turn-based combat seems a little odd, but we'll just have to wait until October to find out. And we're not saying it's going to be bad, but if it does turn out to be a little iffy, at least we'll have that hot new soundtrack coming from Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale. Finding its rightful home on the Switch on the 18th is the title A Hat in Time. A retro-inspired 3D platformer and a Kickstarter success story, A Hat in Time follows the adventure of Hat Kid, a little girl who manages to get into a heaping of trouble while on her way back home from an intergalactic journey. The game features a ton of colorful worlds full of collectibles and a sweet grappling hook that you can use to fling yourself around said worlds. This new Switch release is also bringing over a few features new to consoles, like the ability to play the entirety of the campaign with a pal in split-screen co-op, and for the first time on console, you'll be able to purchase the new Seal the Deal DLC, which offers an entirely new chapter and tons of new outfits. If you're looking for something to scratch that Banjo-Kazooie itch, this just might be it. Topping off the 18th is the new fitness game that these two are way too excited about.
Truthfully, they were playing a brand new adventure game for a Nintendo Switch.
You might even break a sweat while playing.
Ring Fit Adventure. We never would have seen this coming, but Ring Fit Adventure is actually a full-on RPG that uses your body in conjunction with the new Ring-Con controller to fight enemies and level up, all to become strong enough to take on this evil bodybuilding dragon. This is such a Nintendo thing to do. And after seeing the first gameplay trailer, I was a little skeptical. But the new trailer that just released has me pretty excited. There's loads of quests, a ton of outfits to unlock, and a bunch of ways to keep you playing. So if you're like me and you're trying to go to the gym more often but find it hard to go on certain days, maybe playing this at home on the days that you skip the gym might work for you. Then, holding up the tail end of the month on the 29th comes Atelier Ryza, Ever Darkness, and the Secret Hideout. This new game in the well-loved Atelier series is taking things to the next level, splashing on a new coat of paint, refining the combat and crafting systems, and even adding in the ability to customize your own secret hideout. These games have always tried to mix a number of gameplay elements together, as an alchemist would, but this new entry is shaping up to be the most impressive yet. If you're a fan of any of the previous entries or even games like the Rune Factory series, you'll want to make sure you keep tabs on Atelier Ryza. Then make sure to prepare your sanity meter because the definitive mind-bending horror collection is launching on that same day. Disney classic games Aladdin and The Lion King. This collection not only contains the 2 titles from the Genesis, it also includes some of the versions from the Game Boy, Super Game Boy, and Lion King for the Super Nintendo. But sadly, the Super Nintendo version of Aladdin is absent. We're assuming it has something to do with Capcom owning the rights, but we're not really sure. Now, if you've heard anything about these games, it's probably their frustrating difficulty level. Specifically, the second level in Lion King, to be exact. When I was a kid, I couldn't get past that for the life of me. These games were designed to be tough, so that back in the day, players would be more inclined to purchase the game if they couldn't beat it during the time that they were renting it. Thankfully, this new collection comes with a slew of new features, including a watch mode that allows you to skip ahead to any part of the game and a rewind feature if things get a little too tough. The developers also managed to pack in a ton of exclusive concept art and even a special demo that was only used at trade shows for Aladdin on Genesis. Also releasing physically on the 29th is the Resident Evil Triple Pack. This physical edition of the game comes packed with Resident Evil 4 on the cartridge and 5 and 6 on an included download code, but it weighs in at $30 less than if you were to buy them all individually on the eShop.
So basically, we're paying $30 for Resident Evil 4 and $30 for Resident Evil 5, and then we're getting Resident Evil 6 for free. When you look at it that way, that's really not so bad.
If you have yet to play Resident Evil 4 or 5, this is an excellent collection. Resident Evil 4 is a genre-defying third-person horror title that's almost infinitely replayable, and was the last Resident Evil title to be directed by series creator Shinji Mikami. Resident Evil 5, however, borrows a lot from Resident Evil 4, but adds in a lot more action and co-op play. Now, it's not the best Resident Evil, but it's definitely a ton of fun to play with a friend. And then we have Resident Evil 6, which I've never played, so I guess I can't really judge it, but I don't think I ever will. And then finally, capping off our list at the end of the month is Nintendo's own Luigi's Mansion 3. This long-awaited entry in the ghost hunting series finds Luigi and his pals on a dream vacation at an enormous and also mysterious hotel. And it's not called Hotel Luigi, it's not Hotel Mario, it's not that. However, as no Mario getaway can go according to plan, soon do they discover this whole trip was just a trap set in place by an evil ghost who will remain unnamed for this video. Luigi, somehow miraculously, is the only one who remains uncaptured and must seek out and save his friends. Using his trusty poltergust and its latest upgrades, you'll explore the entirety of this Metroidvania-like hotel and its many unique rooms. Luigi's Mansion 3 also brings back the co-op mode found in the re-release of Luigi's Mansion on 3DS, allowing a friend to help you through your journey as Luigi. There's also a ton of online multiplayer modes to keep you busy if you need a break from the scares that are sure to ensue in the resort.
And there you have it, just a taste of some of the best looking games joining the Switch's library in the month of October. Feel free to let us know in the comments down below if you think we missed any games on our list, and let us know what you're most excited for from the month of October. I'm personally looking forward to getting my hands back on Yooka-Laylee in the Impossible Lair, and A Hat in Time has always been on my radar, so seeing it on the Nintendo Switch is something that I'm really excited about. And if you enjoyed this video, why don't you go ahead and make a gooey clone of yourself and teach it to tap the like button on this video and every other Nintendo Life video. Subscribe to Nintendo Life and ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we release new videos. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm ZN from Nintendo Life, and remember, take care of yourself.